Hello and welcome back to part 3 of this Scriptcase training. In this training we are actually creating a new template system for use within a library, for instance, or somewhere like that where you would have loaned items or rentals that you would provide to people, and of course you would want to track who has what and when what was delivered back to you. So we will have just had a look at the database within the previous video, so we will now continue and start to create our new project. So you can see now that I am already logged into Scriptcase, and I will start by creating a new project. Once we start to create a new project, we have then the option to create a blank project or to use one of the many system templates that are available within Scriptcase. And there are quite a few of them, and if I check them out here, we can see that we have quite a few to choose from. Okay, so then we start off by choosing here or clicking the Create Blank Project button and selecting that. Okay, so then we have our project details. So we can start off here by adding an icon, and we can choose pretty much any image in here that we have. Of course, we can also add our own images by choosing here the left-hand menu, and here we can then choose public, project, or user and have our uploaded images within designated areas. Okay, so here for project, if you want to upload images specifically for that project, then always upload them here to the project section. And we do that by selecting here the project, the location or the directory where you would like to have those images added to. So here I would select general, for instance. I can zoom that back in again, and then up here I can choose file and then upload. And then just like that, we can then select the files that we want to upload, and they will then all be accessible via our project. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead to my public images here, and I'm going to pick one of the images I have here. So let's have a look. I'm going to go for here the MacBook Pro, and I can choose then the add selected. And that will then add that here as the icon for this project. We can then also go ahead and include a name for this. So let's call it TPL underscore, I'll call it library rental system. Okay. And we can also add a project description. Now, before I add the project description, do notice that I have used underlines here for the project name, because if I add spaces, it is not supported for this specific field. So we need to always add underlines or dashes or something along those lines to split up our words or the title or the project name, whatever you want to call it. And of course, then you'll have your systems a little more organized. So within the project description, we have no such limitations, and we can add some information in here, information on this project, for instance. And of course, we can add some additional project information, which just helps us organize things a little more and possibly even improve your productivity. Okay, so once we are then ready to continue, we can then go ahead and click down the bottom right here, the next button. Now, once we've done so, we are then presented with the various database options. And as we can see, Scriptcase supports many database options that we can actually connect to. And if by chance that you do not have a database available, you can choose to create a sample database here using SQLite, which is a local file-based database. Okay. Now, it's handy to use for very basic platforms, but in general, you may want to use one of these real databases that we have at the top. Somebody may argue with me that SQLite is also a real database, and it's also available at the top here. Okay, so I've been told off already. So let's continue then and choose here the MySQL MariaDB as our database option. And then once we've done that, we have then all of the connection options for the database that we have selected. So we have here the initial connection options. We can choose here the driver, so we can choose PDO or MySQLi, whichever we prefer. And we also have then the server host name or IP address, meaning that we can connect to a local database or even a remote database if we wanted to. The choice really is down to you. Do note on the right hand side here, we can also modify the port number of that host. So then below that, we have here the option for the username and password. But before we attach here the database, let's just have a quick look here at the security options, because here we can also choose to use SSL, add our own client key, the client certificate, the path, the CA path, as well as the CA certificate, as well as a specified cipher if we wanted to. We also have various filter options up here so that we can also apply various filters to this connection, as well as advanced options. So do check those out. They may come in handy for your next project. But for now, I will return back here to the connection, and I will choose here, first of all, a database. So let me see, I have my username root and my password, okay, which is not correct. So let me go ahead and modify that. And then once I have then added my username and password for the database in there, I can then choose here list database, and then the databases that I have available on that local database server are then presented. Okay, so here, for instance, I will choose here, where was it? So scroll down. So I have a lot of databases there, SC_loans. And then by choosing that, this project is then linked to this database. Now, this does not mean that we cannot add more or further databases to this project. Scriptcase has you covered there and has no such limitations. You can add as many databases to your project, meaning you are able to synchronize various databases or send data to one database and send different data to the other database, however you please. So once we've actually applied that, we can then also go ahead and choose here the test connection and make sure that everything is in order. And of course, if there is an error, it will tell you here that the connection was unsuccessful. So for now, I can go ahead and click here the next button. Now, once I've done that, I have then the options, or now the options, to choose the project language that I want to use within this project. So I have here the language, and I can change the language here with the drop-down menu. I can also change the regional settings. Okay, so I can customize it. I may have an English language, but I may be in Uganda or Zambia or New Zealand or anywhere else. And then, of course, the regional settings would be quite different from the UK, for instance. To the right, we then also have the character set, and we can also choose the drop-down menu and make adjustments here to whatever is required. We have then also the default option, which is then allows us then to, for instance, select a default language for the entire platform. And in such a case, we would generally want to have more languages. And to do so, I can simply click here the button and then choose the language again from the drop-down menu, as well as the regional settings, and then click the add button, and that will then add as many languages as well as regional settings and character sets, all fully customized to our platform. For now, I don't really need to. I will leave the English. And of course, if I have added further languages, for instance, I add here the Arabic for Arabic Saudi Arabia. And if I don't want it no more, I can simply click there the delete button and it will remove it from the project. So to continue, I will click here on the next button. So then we have our templates. And Scriptcase comes with many types of templates. And you can see at the top here, 1,839 different templates. Okay, that is a lot, but the majority of those are from my public location. Okay, so Scriptcase comes with 48 different templates. So there should be plenty for you to choose from. And of course, these public ones, well, these are customized templates that I have basically added, as well as then a project template, as well as then also user templates, okay, or themes, should I say, and those can then all be attached to my project. So to choose a theme, or template, as I was just saying, I can then choose here the theme. So simply hovering over presents me the two options: select this theme and default. So I'm feeling a little sweet today, so let's go with a sweet and more. So I'll choose here the sweet and more today, and I will remove this default one here. So to do that, I need to click here the default button within the newly selected theme. And then we see here that the default has been removed. And I have then also the option to remove that template or that theme if I want to. Okay, and then I am left here with this single theme template here. Now, of course, I can add as many of these as I want to. For instance, I can add another theme, another one, and another one. And just like that, I will have 4 new themes or 4 theme options available within my project. And I can change them very easily using the macros or other methods within the platform. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and remove these. We really just want one theme for this. And of course, it is important to note that you can add the theme at any stage. Okay, you do not have to add that now. And the same applies with the previously mentioned database. You can add those database or further theme templates later on when you are ready to apply them. So for now, I will go ahead and click here the create button, and that will then create the initial starting point for my project. And Scriptcase recognizes straight away that I have not created any applications yet for this project. So once I've created some applications, it will remove this option. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to create a blank so that I stop getting this notification while we create, for instance, a folder structure. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and close that. And then here I have then the blank application. And of course, every time I create now a new folder, generally, it would give me the new application all the time. And of course, it can be a little frustrating to have that come up in your face and force you to say, I don't want, or to close that or to create an application. So the easiest way is just to create a blank application straight away, leave it in your root. You're not going to use it, or you may use it. That is entirely up to you. But then from there, you can then go ahead and add the folder structure with some calm. Okay, so for the folder structure, how you design your folder structure is of course entirely up to you. One of the easiest ways to have your applications as well as your folder structure nicely organized is to number them. Okay, and so in this case, I'll add 01, I'll say persons. Okay, I could have said people or whatever else. And then once I've created that folder, I am then inserted directly into that folder location. So I'll come back here to root, and I will go ahead and create some further folders for the rest of the items. So the other table we had was objects. So I'll create 02 objects, come back to root again, create another folder, and here I'll call 03 loans, or rentals, whatever you like. And there we then have 3 folders. So let's go ahead and add one more. And if I say then 03 loans, and in this case, I could say 10 and information or info, however you please. And again, that assigns some kind of hierarchy here from 01, 02, 03 directly to 10. And of course, I can add some more, but beware now, because I've now clicked inside the folder, and I would now be creating a new folder inside of the information folder, which I don't need. So I will click cancel, return back to root again, and from there I will create 2 more folders. So I'll call this one to 80, and this is then the security folder. And then we want to have one more, and this would then be, for instance, for testing. So let's call it testing or samples or anything else like that. So then I have then sample applications inside of another folder, again, easing the management of your applications. Okay, so now that we have our folder structure ready, I can go ahead and delete this blank application now, because I don't really want that. So I'll get rid of that. So that's now gone. And as you see, because I have no applications, I have now again the new application prompt to start creating applications. But I don't want to do that yet. So I'm going to come out of that and return back to root here again. And then what I can do is I can come up here to application, and then batch applications. Because remember, we're starting off now, we have not created any such applications yet, and of course we can then choose which applications we want to create. So here I will choose all of them. I will remove the sec users because that will be created by the security system and we don't need that now. And then we have here the family objects, for instance. I don't think we need a grid for that one. A simple form will do. But for the rest of them, we can have a form and a grid generated. Now, it is important to note that because we are using the batch applications or express creation as it's indicated here, then when you generate, for instance, now a form and a grid together, they will also be automatically linked, meaning when you open the grid, it will have a button for you to create a new item within that table, or you will also have the edit option for each of those rows that you have within the grid. Now, if you don't want them, you can go ahead and remove them during the process, which we will be doing as we actually go ahead and modify some of these. But for now, we can go ahead and click next, and then from there, we can make further adjustments to each of these applications that we are generating. So I'll leave the names, okay, because we could adjust the names here if we wanted to. We can also add a description. Now, I do advise to add a description for your applications because it will simplify your management of said applications, as well as when you come to generate your security, the description of the applications will be included within the security, which is then very handy for when it comes to the back-end management of your applications within the platform that you are developing, as well as the security environment. So here to the right, we can then also choose the type of form. So notice we have this option here on every form. Okay, and there we can choose if we want to have the form generated as a single row, multiple rows, editable grid, or editable grid view. So here I'll choose multiple rows. And of course, we can make this adjustment later on, so we don't have to do that now. We can also always change the type of form we have at any stage during the development. So down the bottom to the left here, we have the option to generate source as well as go to edit. So clicking either of these will actually enable that. So if I click here, generate source, it will generate all of the applications, and then it will also generate the source code for the applications, meaning I can just run them without generating the application first. And if I click to edit, it will open all of the applications here ready for me to edit within Scriptcase. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and deselect both of those and click finish. And Scriptcase will then go ahead and generate all of our applications. And there we have them here directly in root. And of course, we can then go ahead and move them where we want to have them to. So for instance, here we have here the objects, forms, as well as the object grid. So let me go ahead and select those. And then I can choose here, move. And then I can choose the move location. And then from there, I can say move them into objects. And I need to confirm that. And then those forms and grids that I have selected will then now be available here in the objects folder. So coming back to root, let's go ahead and modify that then for the remaining items we have here. So we have the loaned items. So we move them into the loans folder. And then we also have here the persons form and grid, and we can move them into the persons folder. And just like that, we have organized all of our applications. Okay, so that's it for this part of the training. Come back in the next video and we will, of course, continue customizing the applications and start to develop this loan system. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.